Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. First things first, how are you doing today? I hope you're good and I hope you're safe out there. I'm your Italian host, Jada, and I'm here every Sunday to keep you company with brand new stories. And these stories, they are really random. They can be happy, they can be positive, soft, paranormal. And today we have a true crime one. If you're new on this channel, let me tell you, in this channel I don't just tell stories. I also bring in my Sims 4 CAS because I try to recreate every person we're talking about in these stories. Why? Why not, amigo? To help myself recreate these people, since the game is not very realistic, I always download some custom content, some CC, and if you need this CC in your game, don't worry because I will leave all the download links on the description box down below, so don't forget to check that out. Today's story is very creepy. It is a true story and it's gonna be very weird. It's gonna leave us with a lot of questions because people never got justice for it, and to be honest, we don't even know how this story ends. So if you want to know what's going on, stick with me until the end of this video. If you like these kind of videos, you know what to do. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss the other videos. And if you want me to talk about a story in particular, please remember to write me on the comments down below, on my Instagram or on my Twitter, because I will read all your comments. So before I start with this video, if you get triggered by crime, by, murder, feel free to close this video. And if you want to see something more positive and soft, you can always go see my videos about BTS, because I've talked about 3 of the members and I also have recreated them on The Sims 4. So I will just shut up, I will close my mouth, and let's start with this video. This story begins in 1965 in Houston, Texas, in a small little neighborhood where the Rogers family lived. Who was the Rogers family? The family comprised of an elderly couple, Edwina and Fred, and their son Charles. Now Fred was 81 and Edwina was 73, so the couple was growing old and happily together. They had been married for 15 years, so they were, chilling, relaxing. Their life, we could say it was an honest life. Fred was a real estate agent and Edwina was a sales representative. But they were not perfect because they would commit fraud together and did a lot of gambling. As I said before, they had a son, Charles, but before Charles they had also a daughter, and her name was Betty. To be honest, I couldn't find much about her, and I couldn't find much about Charles' childhood either. So this case is really mysterious, but stick with me. What I did find out is that Betty died when she was just 10 years old because all the family got in a car accident, and so she lost her life. Anyway, as I was saying, this story starts on June 13th, 1965. The Houston Police Department in Texas received a call from Marvin Martin asking for a welfare check on his aunt and uncle. Fred Christopher Rogers and Edwina Rogers had not been answering their phone. And to be honest, for Marvin it was very weird because it had been like 2 weeks since he saw them. So 2 police officers knocked on the couple's front door of their home in Montrose. There was no response, so they ended up knocking the door down. In the house, there was no sign of the couple, despite being food on the table. So everything was very clean, very neat, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. It just seemed like Fred and Edwina just disappeared. But one of the officers noticed a strong odor coming from the fridge. Yeah, we all know what's going to happen. He opened it and saw various cuts of meats, which he believed to be hog meat. The officer was shocked when he suddenly saw 2 heads in the fridge's crisper. The plastic box where you put vegetables. Fred had been beaten with a claw hammer and had his eyes and genitalia removed. Meanwhile, Edwina had been shot in the head, execution style. After they were dead, the killer had dragged the bodies to the master bathroom upstairs, and he also had drained their blood and chopped them into pieces and placed the cuts in the fridge. The authorities believed that the killer had knowledge in anatomy because the bodies were very neatly cut. They were perfectly cut. And experts say that Fred and Edwina had been murdered 3 days before. But the most suspicious thing was that despite the gruesome murders, the house had been perfectly cleaned. The only thing that was missing from the home was the couple's organs, and they were later found in a nearby sewer because the killer had flushed them down the toilet. But did you notice something? We haven't spoken about one element in particular, and that element was Charles. Charles Friedrich Rogers was the immediate suspect. To be honest, in the beginning, police were, worrying about him. They thought, some crazy man killed the couple and maybe they kidnapped Charles, or maybe they hurt him somehow. But imagine this. A killer that decides to go in a home and decides to kill someone doesn't really have the time to clean their home, to kidnap someone, just because they are in such a hurry, they don't want to be discovered. So actually killers, they never clean the home, they always rush out of the home. So, as I said, Charles was the prime suspect. The couple's 43-year-old son, who lived in the attic bedroom, could not be found after the discovery of the bodies. But who was Charles? Where? Nothing much is known about his childhood, but what I was able to find is that by 1965, Charles was unemployed and living with his elderly parents in the Montrose neighborhood of Houston. He was described as reclusive and was reported to have communicated with his parents with notes slipped under the door. So imagine, the relationship was not very great. Neighbors, they didn't even know that Charles lived with his parents, and he generally left the home before dawn and did not return until after dark. So as I said, police determined that Fred and Edwina had been killed on June 20th, Father's Day. Police said that the bodies were dismembered in the upstairs bathroom by a person with some knowledge of anatomy, as I said before, and there was little blood in the house, and it appeared it had been cleaned by after the murder. So the little blood that was found led to Charles Rogers' bedroom. There, police found a blood-stained keyhole saw, but no trace of Charles himself. So imagine, why would the killer leave the keyhole saw that he used to cut the bodies in their son's bedroom? Isn't that a little suspicious? A search for Charles was launched and a warrant was issued for him as a material witness to the crime, but he was never found. Now get ready, because it's going to get a lot weirder. Of course, since this case was never closed, a lot of theories and conspiracy theories popped out of nowhere. Charles' life was documented in a 1992 book, The Man on the Grassy Knoll, by John R. Craig and Philip A. Rogers. According to this work, Charles was said to be particularly intelligent, he spoke 7 languages, and had a degree in nuclear physics. He was a pilot in the US Navy during World War II and served in the Office of Naval Intelligence. And he became a seismologist for Shell Oil. In 1957, Charles randomly quit his job of 9 years. During the 1950s, Charles joined the Civil Air Patrol, where he is believed to have met David Ferrie. Who is David Ferrie, you might ask? He was a man accused of being involved in the plot to assassinate President John F. Kennedy. So not very a good person, may I say. According to the book, Charles was a CIA agent who likely impersonated Lee Harvey Oswald in Mexico City, and along with Charles Harrelson, was one of the shooters involved in the assassination of President Kennedy. So the plot thickens, it becomes very, very weird. The authors allege that Rogers, Harrelson, and Chauncey Holt were the 3 tramps arrested in the Dealey Plaza after the assassination, and that Charles murdered his parents because his mother was tracking his phone calls and she knew too much. So in this account, Charles fled to Guatemala. Now this theory sounds crazy, but a lot of people seem to believe it. Anyway, at the time of the book's publishing, an investigator said that it was a reasonable theory, but it actually was very, very criticized for the lack of sources. Anyway, forensic accountant Hugh Gardner and his wife Martha, they began investigating the case in 1997. The couple does not believe that Charles was a CIA agent, but he did have deals with CIA contract workers when he was a seismologist. The couple who published the book The Icebox Murders, that actually gave the name to this case, believes Charles was emotionally and physically abused as a child and as an adult by his parents. At the time of their deaths, Edwina and Fred were reportedly faking their son's signature on deeds of land that he owned. And Fred was also, as I said before, involved in illegal gambling and fraud. So the house in which they were living was actually Charlie's house, and it was not happy that Edwina had taken out loans on it and kept the money for herself. So the Gardners believe that he planned his parents' murder for years, and with the help of people he met while he was working for oil and mining companies, he's said to have run away to Mexico. Afterwards, he went to the Honduras, where he was killed over a wage dispute with miners. This book has also drawn criticism and has been called a work of fact-based fiction. So Jada, what is the truth, you may ask? I don't know. Nobody knows. A lot of theories circulate on the internet, but no one really knows where Charles went. What we know is that poor Edwina and Christopher, even if they committed fraud, even if they did gambling, they didn't deserve to die, of course. So they will probably never get justice for what happened to them. Anyway, Charles Rogers' fate is still unknown, but he was pronounced dead in 1975. So the Icebox murders remain unsolved. This is a very weird case. I found a lot of speculation while searching for this story, and to be honest, some theories are just crazy to me. There is a lot of conspiracy theory behind this, and they get more and more absurd as you keep on searching. So what do you guys think? I am really curious to know your opinion on this, because I really don't know what to think. I think it was Charles who killed them, because as I said, it is very weird that a killer would just clean the home, kidnap someone, have the time to cut the bodies and put them in the fridge. Yeah, it's very suspicious. So what do you think? Was CIA involved in this, or was just a random thing made out of anger? Let me know in the comments down below, because I'm really curious to know your theories, and maybe you know something more than me. Oh, and by the way, let me know also what you think about the sim. Even if, as I said, I don't really care for these killers to be perfect in my Sims 4 game, because I'm not going to keep them, and I have zero to no respect for them. I'm sorry, they are trash human beings. I hope you liked today's story, even if it was a very weird one. Thank you for sticking with me till the end, even if we have a lot of questions. Have a nice day and be safe out there, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!